The first time I stepped onto a plane, I was 32 nervous and already sweating through my blouse. The overhead bin wouldn't shut no matter how hard I shoved my carry-on. People behind me were sighing and tapping their shoes, and I felt that familiar sting of embarrassment creep up my neck. That's when a voice, deep, calm, confident, spoke behind me. "Need a hand with that." I turned expecting a flight attendant and saw a tall man with rolled-up sleeves, a warm smile, and an expensive watch. He closed the bin like it was nothing, then offered me a seat upgrade with a wink, saying it'd be a better view for your first time in the sky. I sat in a first-class seat I never could have afforded, feeling like I'd just been handed a slice of magic. My daughter Chloe was at my mom's house back in Chicago, and I couldn't wait to tell her how lucky Mommy got. That flight was supposed to take me to a job interview, one that could finally break the cycle of working two jobs, juggling online classes, and choosing between paying rent or buying Chloe new shoes. I thought my luck had finally turned. Half an hour later, that luck felt like it was about to run out. The plane jerked so hard, my stomach hit my throat. Oxygen masks dropped. People screamed, lights flickered. My hands shook too much to get the mask on, but that man, the flight attendant, secured mine first, then his own, all while looking calm as stone. When the turbulence passed, I finally exhaled. A flight attendant hurried over and said, "Mr. Donovan, are you okay?" I blinked. Mr. Donovan. That wasn't a flight attendant. He smiled sheepishly. "Jack Donovan," he said, extending a hand. "Not part of the crew. Sorry for the mix-up." My face burned. I'd mistaken one of the most recognizable CEOs in the country, whose company's name was plastered on billboards, for a flight attendant. And he had just upgraded my seat, brought me champagne, and practically held my hand through a panic attack. He didn't tease me, though. Instead, he leaned back and asked about my trip. When I told him about the interview at Horizon, he nodded slowly. Marcus Wheeler's company, he said, tone guarded. "Go in with your eyes open. He's brilliant, but ruthless." Jack had already looked up my portfolio right there on the flight and complimented campaigns I'd worked on for small Chicago businesses. He even offered me an interview at his own company. I remember laughing nervously, thinking, sure. Like a billionaire CEO just hires strangers he meets on planes. But when we landed, I got a text from Wheeler's assistant interview moved to a fancy hotel bar at 7 p.m. The change made me uneasy, but I thought maybe that's how powerful people operated. I put on my best blazer, showed up early, and waited. And waited. Instead of Wheeler, Jack showed up leaning on the bar with a martini. "This isn't a job interview," he said quietly. "It's a power play. He's testing you." My stomach sank. I was tired of being tested, so I decided then and there, forget Horizon. If Jack's offer was real, I'd take that chance instead. That's when the real game began. Jack admitted his company was trying to acquire Horizon. That flight wasn't random. He'd seen my name on a passenger list and made sure to be on that flight. "I wanted to meet you before Wheeler hired you," he said. My trust shattered. "So I'm a pawn to you too," I shot back, as if to prove my point. Wheeler called me later that night. His voice was smooth, calculated. "Donovan wants access to a client of mine. He's using you. Ask him about his ex-wife Patricia, how he used her connections, then dropped her." I hung up and confronted Jack. He swore the story was twisted, but I'd had enough. I told him I was done being a pawn and walked out. That's when Jack told me something that changed everything, that bakery campaign I'd done in Chicago. The one that put me on the map. The owner was his sister, Caroline. She'd been singing my praises for months, saying I was the most talented marketer she'd worked with. When I saw Caroline's name pop up on my phone with a breakfast invitation, I said yes. Over coffee the next morning, I found someone who wasn't playing games. Caroline was warm, sharp, and just as frustrated with the corporate world as I was. She listened as I vented. Then I blurted out an idea I'd been nursing for months, a boutique agency that only worked with female-owned businesses, using scrappy marketing to help them compete with giants. Caroline's eyes lit up. "You're onto something," she said, and by the end of breakfast we'd sketched a business plan on napkins. She offered seed funding and insisted I hold controlling interest. When I walked into Donovan Enterprises later that day, Jack looked confused. He thought I'd come for an interview. Instead, Caroline joined me and we slid a polished business proposal across the table. "We're starting Parker Miller Strategies," I said. Jack scanned it in silence, then grinned. "Well played, Ms. Parker. I came looking for a marketing director and found a competitor." Before we could celebrate, Marcus Wheeler stormed in, furious. "This is sabotage," he barked. "She was supposed to meet me this morning." I met his glare calmly. "I declined your offer," I said. "We're starting something of our own." His eyes narrowed. "With what capital? What client base?" Caroline leaned back casually. "Sweet Crumbs Bakery, already working with Emma. And there's more where that came from." Marcus scoffed, but I noticed him skimming the proposal I'd emailed his office. "Ambitious," he said finally. "I'll review it." And just like that, the man who'd tried to intimidate me was considering a partnership. 6 months later, Parker Miller Strategies had 15 clients and a wait list. Our first campaign went viral, and Chloe had her own bedroom in a sunny San Francisco apartment with a school she loved. Caroline ran operations. I led the creative team, and Jack. He became a quiet supporter, showing up for dinners, helping Chloe with science projects, and cheering us on. One evening, he dropped by my office with a gift basket. "Congrats on landing the Westfield account," he said, leaning against the doorframe. "That's a big one." I teased him for helping with a few introductions, but he shook his head. "You closed that deal yourself." Then he mentioned something I didn't expect. Marcus Wheeler wanted to invest. Jack did too. Equal stakes, no interference, letting us stay independent while scaling nationally. I couldn't help but laugh. "So instead of fighting over Horizon, you're teaming up to back me?" Jack smiled. "Strategic partnerships benefit everyone." Later that night, Chloe texted me, "Can we have ice cream after dinner? Uncle Jack promised to teach me to make rock candy this weekend." I smiled at the nickname, at how naturally he'd become part of our lives. Standing by my office window, looking out at the glowing skyline, I thought about that first flight. About being crammed in economy with a bag I couldn't lift, feeling like an imposter. About how two powerful men had seen me as leverage, and how I'd walked away from both jobs to build something of my own. I'd been underestimated my whole life, but that turbulence, literal and figurative, forced me to find my wings. Jack once told me that business is like flying through storms. The passengers panic, the crew holds steady, and the pilot keeps their eyes on the horizon. That night I realized I wasn't just a passenger anymore. I was flying my own plane. So tell me, if someone powerful dangled a shortcut in front of you, but you knew it came with strings, would you take it? Or would you risk everything to build something on your own terms? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever been underestimated and proved them wrong? And if you believe women-led businesses deserve a seat at the table, share this story. Your voice matters more than you know.